You do remember all those vote leave signs? In the English city of Boston, 76% of the people voted for Brexit. But the first day after the end of the transition period brings no cheers, only worries. On January 1st, what Mark Rawlinson voted for 4 years and a half ago came into force. Britain's final break with the European Union, the exit from the internal market and the customs union. But when he walks the half-empty streets of Boston, Lincolnshire, with his son James that New Year's Eve afternoon, it doesn't feel like his dream have come true. I don't think this deal is a good one, says Rawlings. I don't see how we will benefit from it. Moreover, he suspects, quite rightly, that Great Britain will continue to adhere to certain EU rules in order to operate duty-free trade. Rawlings is 52, a stocky man who likes to speak out loud and clear. He has many reasons to be unhappy with politics. He just lost his job in a company that repairs roads in the corona pandemic. In general, he had seen for years how he was paid less and less for comparable jobs. And he worries whether his 17-year-old son, who is currently doing an apprenticeship at a Mercedes dealer, will be able to afford a house and live a safe life. Rawlings believes that Boston suffered badly because migrants from EU countries settled here, and he's convinced the infrastructure was overloaded and salaries pushed down. But can leaving the EU solve the structural problems of the British economy? And just one example, he was fired from a job where we really have problems here. In my hometown, we delay repairing streets and building new streets because we can't get any free company at the moment. They are all booked out. Just saying. The picturesque medieval town of Boston is a Brexit stronghold. Around 76% of the population voted to say goodbye to Europe in 2016, more than anywhere else in Great Britain. Paul Skinner, the Conservative chairman of the local council, tries to explain it this way. Too much has changed in the last 20 years. By that, he obviously means immigration. In 2001, 98% of the city's residents were white British. The next census 10 years later showed that around a tenth of the 64,600 Bostonians were born in Eastern Europe. Most of the people who came to Boston came from Poland, Latvia and Lithuania, often from poorer regions of these countries. In fact, for historical reasons, Bostonians should understand when someone sets off on new shores in search of a better life. After all, this is where the Puritans came from, who sailed across the Atlantic in the 17th century and helped found the US city of Boston in what is now Massachusetts. And today EU foreigners come to Lincolnshire because they are needed here. We don't have unemployment here, says Councillor Skinner. People come because employers are courting them. The immigrants either work in the farms around the city or in the factories that process food. The city is surrounded by fields and greenhouses, and the area is known as England's vegetable garden. In Sue Lamb's family business, which grows cut flowers not far from Boston, 36 of the 40 employees come from Eastern Europe. We need every single migrant, she says. Without them, there won't be the food that ends up on our plates every day. The end of the Brexit transition period is causing problems for Lamb, because since January 1st, a new migration system applies in Great Britain. Anyone who wants to work there, whether an EU citizen or not, has to collect enough points by demonstrating good English skills and having a job offer with a minimum salary of £20,480 per year for industries with a labour shortage before entering the country. Sue Lamb fears that many companies in the flower industry could go bankrupt if these rules are strictly applied. Her employees make between $25,000 and $30,000 a year, she says, but not on a 40-hour contract. To do this, they would have to work up to 55 hours a week. The people who are willing to do so are fantastic, says Lamb. She hopes that most of her Eastern European employees will stay. Many have already submitted their applications for residence permits. A government pilot project aims to enable seasonal workers to come into the country for 6 months. But Lamb sees the danger that the increase in bureaucracy and the pound exchange rate, weakened by Brexit, will make England unattractive for migrants in the long term. It is all the more astonishing that Lamb herself voted for Brexit in 2016. She said it was about Britain escaping a dictate of the EU. And even today the farmer would have voted in the same way, although she is preparing for a rocky road that will take 12 to 18 months. She does not get any immediate benefits from the Brexit agreement. Their flowers are now no more competitive on the domestic market than tulips from Holland. In general, she is more concerned about the competition from Colombia and Kenya, not from the EU. And what about the Eastern Europeans in Boston? Many seem to be relaxed about Brexit. It's said that Great Britain is leaving the EU, they've been there for so long, says Regina from Lithuania, who has lived in Boston with her husband and daughter for 2 years. For a long time she did not believe that the final break would come and that Brexit would be implemented. However, she does not feel any consequences. The family has secured their right of residence, the pre-settled status. She is friends with her English neighbors, says Regina. And she doesn't worry about work. She sorts avocados in a factory and earns as much in a week as she did in Lithuania with her old job in a publishing house. There were no public celebrations on New Year's Eve in the city, which is now one of the regions with the strictest coronavirus requirements. Mark Rawlinson, the Brexit voter, did not celebrate the divorce from the EU either. We should have left the EU 4.5 years ago without an agreement, he says. However, he's no longer irritated by Brussels but by Prime Minister Boris Johnson. What a prankster! He always wanted to get into power and wrap himself in that Churchill rhetoric, says Rawlinson. I bet people in Europe laugh at him now, says Rawlinson. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and to my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.